A lot of authors say, I don't want to be on social media. I don't want to have to worry about like growing an account and posting every day and trying to figure out that whole algorithm craziness. And if that's you, then this video is perfect for you, because there actually are options, such as what we're going to talk about today, where you don't have to build up an audience of your own, because you can use someone else's audience. In this case, BookBub and their email newsletter of thousands of readers who are your target readers looking for a book exactly like yours. BookBub can be a fantastic marketing tool for authors, and if you've never heard of it before, don't worry, I'm going to tell you all about it, including the 3 different ways that you can advertise your book on this platform to reach brand new readers outside of your own audience who have never heard of your book before. Before we dive too deep into this though, I want to let you know a couple important things. Number 1, this strategy specifically applies to marketing ebooks. It's a lot easier to get a reader to take a chance on an ebook than a much more expensive physical book. Number 2, BookBub is specifically for sales. So this is not something you do any old time. It's specifically when you're ready to run a sale on your book, or if you want to put your book permanently on a discounted price. And number 3, BookBub is most effective when an author has multiple books for sale, not just one, and especially effective if those books are in a series. If you're putting book 1 on sale and then books 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many you have after that are also available to buy, that is going to make you by far the most money. That's not to say you can't use BookBub if you only have one book, or if you don't have a series and you have just a bunch of standalones. It still could be useful to you, but you might use it for different reasons, such as just plain exposure and reaching new readers that way. We'll talk more about that later on in this video. Real quick, for those of you who don't know what BookBub is, this is essentially a site where they list ebook deals. So ebooks that are on sale. They have different sections like noteworthy picks, free and under $1, and just tons of different types of discounted books in all kinds of genres. There are actually tons of different email newsletter sites like BookBub, but BookBub is currently, as of filming this video, the biggest one out there. BookBub has cultivated a ton of different email lists for different genres. So if you sign up for BookBub and specifically say you want to read, teen and young adult and fantasy, then you will specifically get advertised discounted books in those 2 categories. If you sign up for all the categories, then you'd get advertised all the categories, but typically readers sign up for genres that they love. So the cool thing about BookBub is that you don't have to use your audience. This is someone else's audience that's already built up. They've gathered thousands of readers and done the work for you, and they're giving you access to those readers. But on top of that, these are readers who actually want your specific book. So that's what BookBub is. I hope you can see how extremely valuable it is. But now let's talk about those 3 different ways to advertise. The first advertising option is the new release. And actually, this is kind of 2 different things. Okay, so the first one is one that you pay for. You can specifically apply to have your new release, something that's coming up and not yet published, advertised to their specific email list that goes out every single day. And so you'd be advertising one specific day, and you have to apply and see if you get approved for this one, and then you would have to pay for it. I personally would not choose this option because typically your new release is going to be full price. And if you remember, we talked about how BookBub is specifically targeting people who are looking for deals. So they are not as likely to buy a book at full price, and I just don't see the value in this specific one. You could try it if you want to, but I personally like the other new release option, which is very, very similar, but it is people who already follow you on BookBub. They get emailed for free that you have a new release coming out. And this is one that they do supposedly automatically as long as you've set up your profile and you've set up your books before the release, and they can see that book on there and that it's coming up. They will automatically promote to anybody who's following you on BookBub. So I personally prefer that free option, and I stay away from the paid new release for the reasons I already said. And if you want to take advantage of this free new release option on BookBub, you really just have to set up your profile and make sure that your book is also set up and added to your profile before the release. The second way to advertise on BookBub is their generic BookBub ads. This is what you typically think of when you think about advertising. It's something that you can pay for, and it's guaranteed if you pay for it, they will do it. And again, it's what you think of when you think of ads. So you're creating a graphic of your book in some way, shape, or form, and they do have requirements for that. So you're going to want to carefully research and make sure you fit the requirements. This is something you could hire a graphic designer to do, or you could just go and use Canva. I have a video on how to use Canva for authors. I'll link it below. It's super easy to create a design like this. And then when you submit your book, this is very similar to Amazon ads, where it's a pay per click, meaning that readers will see it, it'll be offered to them, what's called, I think, an impression. And then if the reader clicks on it and goes over to see the book on a vendor, that's when you're paying for that click. This one, again, has a lot of similarities to Amazon ads, where if you've played around with that, you know that you have to submit different keywords, meaning things that readers might be searching, such as other authors they like, or the genre, or tropes, things like that, that might intrigue those readers and make them more interested in reading the book. But the weird thing is that if you have any experience on Amazon, it doesn't really translate over to doing these generic BookBub ads. They're so different, and there is a really big learning curve to figuring this out. I am not an expert in these. I don't do Amazon ads or BookBub's generic ads because both of them feel too risky to me. They almost feel like gambling, like trying to figure it out. And that's not to say that it wouldn't be possible if you want to take the time and effort to do that. I would encourage you to do that if you like. But because my sales don't run permanently, they're just usually 1 week, once or twice a year, I don't feel like I have enough time to truly learn and experiment with this type of advertising either. And in case that wasn't clear, I guess I should say you could technically run BookBub ads all year round, whether you have a book on sale or not. But again, I don't think that makes any sense because the people on BookBub are looking for deals. So specifically like $1.99 or 99 cents or free books. And if your book is full price, it just doesn't make sense to do one of these generic BookBub ads, even if they are guaranteed and you could do it. I prefer personally to wait until a book is on sale. And I have played with these. I just don't feel like they made that big of a difference compared to the third and final option, my favorite option on BookBub, the featured deal advertising option. All of these different deals, if you go to the BookBub partners side, which is the author side of things, and research their different advertising options, have an FAQ page. So for the BookBub feature deals specifically, they have different things like, how do I submit? How does BookBub select the books? What are the submission requirements and advice? How much does a feature deal cost? Why would I discount my book or offer it for free? So they really break it down for you if you want to go in and browse. But I wanted to point out a couple things, starting with the submission requirements and advice, because on this page there are a few important things to note. Number one, you can see the biggest requirement is that they will only consider deeply discounted books or limited time deals. Now I do think they have something later on about how if your book is permanently discounted, they'll consider it as well. There it is. They're happy to feature perma-free books. That just means permanently free. And then your book can't have been offered for a better price than the submitted deal price in the recent past. They have some other requirements. I would definitely recommend clicking on that and reading more, but two of the biggest ones that have affected me that I think you should know is that number one, the book does have to be over 150 pages. So that affected me because I was like, I wonder if I could submit like a short story or a novella. And the answer is no. It does have to be 150 pages or more, and that's on the ebook, not the paperback. So you could format your paperback to be as big as you want, but really it's all going to boil down to what is the actual size of the ebook. And then the other requirement is the timing. So if I remember right, let's see if I can find it here. The book must not have been promoted by BookBub in the last 6 months. So this is something where you could, if you have multiple books, you could promote one book and then a different book and then another book, and that's fine. And an author could promote every 30 days basically, but you can't promote the same book more than once every 6 months. So that's really important to note because maybe you want to run, say, your 99-cent sale on book number 1 in your series right here, and then 3 months later put it for free. You can only do BookBub on one of those, as far as I understand, and so you would have to pick which one you want. And actually, that brings me to one other really big point before we keep going, which is that BookBub feature deals, specifically this third advertising option, are not guaranteed. Those first two advertising options we talked about, at least one of them is guaranteed. If you pay for it, you will get it. This feature deal, on the other hand, is not guaranteed. You have to submit your book, and if they approve it, to go out to their list, that's when you would pay for it. So there are other facts here that you can look into that might help you get an understanding of how the BookBub feature deal works in particular. Like I said, there's an FAQ for all three of these different types of ads, but here at the very bottom where it says, why wasn't my book selected? This is really important to note, is that you don't want to assume that you're going to get it. Right here it says, due to how many submissions they received, they're only able to accept about 10 to 15% of the books that they receive. So let me give you an example using my own feature deals tab right here on the back end as an author. You can see how many times I submitted The Stolen Kingdom. There was one where it says completed. That means I was accepted and I did do the sale. If I click on the details here, it will show you how much I paid at that time. It has gotten more expensive since. Which list that I was advertising on, in this case fantasy, the date that I was chosen for, and then where the BookBub was advertised and at what price. So I put it on 99 cents for, it looks like I put 2 days in here, but it was a little bit longer. But then let's go back, because you can see after that sale, I submitted again, and that was, if you look, within the 6-month period. So of course not selected because I wasn't following their rules. Then I figured it out. I applied 2 months later. So it had passed the 6-month range and it was acceptable to be considered again. And you can see it not selected. Then another time I submitted and this time it was accepted. Now I believe this one, however, was for my first free sale. This time you can see it was for the category teen and young adult. Here was the cost of it. Again, it's gone up since this instance here back in 2021. And this time, as you can see, I did a free sale for the first time. And so BookBub has told me, as we've emailed back and forth, they have a small team. And so I've gotten to talk to a couple people there. They told me that it is easier typically to get the free feature deal versus the paid option. So just keep that in mind, but I personally always want to set my books to a discounted price and get the most I can out of that before I ever do a free sale, because if they got it for free, they're not going to do the discount. You know what I mean? So I start with the discount, try to get as much momentum there as I can, and then I would later on do a free sale down the road. And then you can see here again, not selected, even though it was after 6 months had passed, it just wasn't selected. And then here again, it was selected, and I believe that was another free deal, and that was a whole year later. So February 2021 and then February 2022. And then over here, I got another free sale completed in November 2022. And then I tried it on The Cursed Hunter, which is technically can be read as a standalone, but it also is book 3 in the series. That one I felt like, from my experience, was not nearly as effective. So then I was like, well, I've only had The Stolen Kingdom to compare. So let's try book 1 in my new series, The Queen's Rise. And book 1 in that series is The Secret Gift right here. It was not selected. Oh, let me back up. Actually, originally I submitted The Secret Gift here, and they did accept it, but only for international, which is a thing they do. And they told me, I personally wanted the US included. I felt like that was really important to me. And so I said, hey, is there any chance I could just do The Cursed Hunter? They swapped that out. They were okay with that. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that also met the requirements in a second. I really wanted The Secret Gift to have the US BookBub as well as all the international countries. So then I applied again here, not selected, and then I applied a third time, and finally it was selected for its first BookBub right here. And I want to point out that one of the things that I think really helped it get selected is that this book passed 50 reviews. So all of these books that got a BookBub had over 50 reviews on Amazon specifically. I think other vendors are not as important, but I have heard from multiple sources that BookBub typically wants to see at least 50 reviews on Amazon specifically on your book before they'll consider it, or at least it'll make it a lot more likely that they'll consider it. That's not to say you can't try to apply. It doesn't hurt to try. It doesn't hurt at all. But I would say that if you're like, you know what, I really want to do BookBub, but I need, I don't know, 20 more reviews or 30 more reviews or whatever the case might be, I would make it your marketing strategy to start asking readers to review and focus on different ways to incentivize readers to review and just encourage them and ask them and build up those reviews, which might take time, and that's okay. But once you've built them up, you're more likely to get a feature deal. So you can see from my dashboard there that the results are really all over the map. And that's the same way with what happens when you actually get a BookBub deal. So I have had a couple thousand downloads for the Stolen Kingdom 99-cent sale. Then when I put the Stolen Kingdom on free for the very first time, I had over 18,000, almost 19,000 downloads. I usually round up and just say 20,000 because after a sale ends, you typically have a lot higher regular priced sales as well. And then on top of that, the reason that I mentioned early on in this video that it's so helpful if you have more than one book in the series, and the reason that typically authors want to do this when you have other books as well, is because the readers who bought that first book on a discount then went on to buy the second and the third and the fourth book in my series. When I ran that sale on the Stolen Kingdom for free, and over 18,000, almost 19,000 people downloaded a free copy of the book, I went on to get full price sales of books 2, 3, and 4. Not everybody bought it, of course. I've heard a stat that maybe 10% or even less nowadays as BookBub slowly becomes less and less effective. It's still effective, but it's not as effective as it used to be. And so maybe even just 2 to 5% of those who got the free copy go on to buy the other books in the series. I still made over $5,000 on the other books in the series. So that is a very, very brief explanation of why an author would pay money to advertise a free book and give away a free book. It seems counterintuitive. I get that. And so I actually have this video here, which I will link below, where I go way more in depth on the stats and how exactly to figure out if you're going to make money from a BookBub. But like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you could still do a BookBub even if you don't have other books in a series or you don't have other connected standalones or books in the same genre or whatever. It still could be valuable, but for a different reason. So obviously, if you're giving away a free book and you're spending money to give away a free book and that's your only book, there's nothing else for readers to go on to buy that will help you make your money back. So the ROI, or what's called return on investment, is not so good if you don't have other books. That said, this could be a way to reach brand new readers who have never heard of you before and potentially build up an audience. I've thought about it and I'm kind of on the fence. Like, if I were to go back in time for my past self to be like, should I get a BookBub on my very first book? I don't know. I feel like I might try because it can't hurt to try. But that said, the prices of BookBub have gone up since I last did my videos on BookBub, and I've done some on my Patreon as well, which I will link below, where I shared how my BookBub did the first week, the first, I think it was 45 days, and then the first 90 days, what the sales were like and how much the sales for my other books grew. And that was a really cool study. But what I'm wondering is, has BookBub changed? I think they have a little bit. And one of the biggest ways that I know that is when you go to their pricing and statistics page. So I should have shown you this sooner. So again, these are all the different lists that you could consider applying to. You can see there's so many different lists that they've cultivated for different countries as well: US, UK, Canada, Australia, and so on. They tell you the number of subscribers on that email. They tell you how much it costs if you put your book for free and advertise, or if you put your book on 99 cents and advertise, or if you put your book on $1 to $2 advertise, $2 to $3 and advertise, $3 and more. And then they tell you what the estimated average downloads are if it's for free, or if it's a discounted book and it's not free, but it's like $1.99, for example, then they tell you the estimated sales range. And right here in the estimated sales range, this is the biggest indicator to me that they are less effective than they used to be. Because back in the day, if I scroll down to, here's fantasy, this is the one list that I tried. It's gone up in price by quite a bit, like $709 to advertise a 99-cent deal, or $487 to advertise a free book. That's gone up a lot, a few $100s. And then over here, you can see the free downloads average is 23,000. So back when I did it, I think it was about 20,000. And so that's roughly what I got. But over here, the telling part is where you can see how many people it's estimated will actually buy the book if it's a discount and not for free. It's 100 to 6,250. So they have a really big range now. And the reason for that, I realize, is because sometimes it's very, very low. With The Cursed Hunter, it was around 100. Actually, The Cursed Hunter, I think, went out on the teen and young adult list right here. And so that range is even smaller, which is wild. So between 50 to 2,450 people could potentially download that book. And part of the problem was that The Cursed Hunter is a book 3, and I think that might have confused readers. So that was just kind of a test to see if it would work as a standalone. But then when I did The Secret Gift, I believe it got, I actually have my tracking here, is The Secret Gift 99-cent promotion. You can see how much I spent total. Then I tried to track the actual purchases and the downloads, and it looked like I got 364 downloads, and that was when it was on this teen and young adult list right here. So for me, that was on the very low end in my opinion. But that said, I feel like The Secret Gift still hasn't quite translated to sales as quickly as The Stolen Kingdom. And I don't know why that is, but I think this is really important to mention in this video, and that's that if your book isn't selling well on its own, then it's not going to make that big of a difference to market a book that's not selling well, if that makes sense. Like if the book doesn't sell itself well, it doesn't matter if you pay to reach more readers, it still won't sell well because it wasn't selling well to begin with. So what I would do is before even applying to do BookBub advertising is make sure that my book is strong and can sell on its own. Like if I'm able to reach my target reader and promote the book to them, it's going to make them want to buy it and excited to buy it. And so a few things to look at that I also look at every time I see how well a book is selling is the cover. And I already changed the cover for The Secret Gift, and I found that that dramatically improved sales. But number two, you can also look at the blurb, and that's the description of the book on the back or on the online website. You can check if it's in the right genre, if you're reaching your target readers, or if you're accidentally reaching people who are not even interested in your genre. So for example, if I applied to the true crime list with my YA fantasy book, that would just be stupid and there would be nobody interested because that's not my target audience. And then you can look at reviews because like I said earlier, specifically for BookBub, it really does help to have more reviews and that social proof that readers do like your book. And because I'm trying to make this video as comprehensive as possible, I also want to mention that there are other email newsletter sites out there such as Free Booksy and Bargain Booksy and what else? Let me look. E-Reader News Today, Robin Reads, Fussy Librarian. My experience with them wasn't that great. Book Barbarian, My Book Cave, Book Sends, Many Books, Book Doggy, E-Reader IQ, just to name a few. There's so many other email newsletters that basically are just readers catering to other readers and sharing discounted books. And so you can apply to these sites. Those are usually much cheaper. Sometimes they're even free or like $15 or $20. I would definitely make sure you have a budget. And then what a lot of indie authors do is they put BookBub on one day of their sale. They use their newsletter and social media for a different day of the sale. And then say if the sale's a week, Sunday through Saturday, and your newsletter's on Sunday and BookBub's on like Wednesday or something, then you would apply to these other promotion and deal sites for like Monday and Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so that there's one email going out to a brand new audience every day of the week. And BookBub's going to be the biggest one by far, but those other deal sites can also get some traction on your sale, and that can just boost up the marketing, I don't know, leverage or whatever you want to call it, and make your sale more effective and reach more readers, and then have that sell through where they go on to buy other books in your series at full price. So that I hope was helpful to you. Just to really quick summarize, that was ebooks only. They do have to be discounted in some way, shape, or form, or free. BookBub is just one of many email newsletter sites that do this, but it is the biggest one and the most helpful to you as an indie. I don't really use their new release except for the free version. And again, to make the best use of that, you can send your readers to follow you on BookBub so that they get those new release notices. I don't really use the generic ads anymore either, but you can if you want to. You could supplement a feature deal with that. But the best way to advertise on BookBub, like I said, is that feature deal. And again, it's not guaranteed, but you can apply once a month and your book can be promoted on BookBub every 6 months. So if you want to factor that into your marketing plan or use it as a way to use someone else's audience to reach brand new readers, I really do think it can be valuable. I hope this video was helpful to you. Comment below to let me know if it was. I really appreciate you. I hope you give this video a like, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye.
Then all